Guys, in this video today, we're going to be talking about failure will teach you so much more than success ever will. I want to tell you this from being an entrepreneur, from coming out of Babylon and all the religious dogma that's out there today, from dealing with relationships, from dealing with people in general, friends, everything. Man, I can tell you that this is so true and powerful. With that said, I'm going to go down through 8 points. This is not the end-all be-all to it, but I mean, this is a big bulk of the matter that I think personally, from my personal experience and from what you will experience out there, and I hope it'll be a help to you. So with that said, let's get into point number 1. So failure will teach you the value of everything, and it will also teach you the right path to go on. If you obviously have failed in the past and you went at something a certain direction, and it didn't turn out all right, well then guess what? You know not to do that direction again. Now they say the definition of insanity is repeating the same process again and hoping for a different result. So with that said, obviously you don't want to do the same thing again. This is also why people always should consult with their elders. This is why I think very deeply that the scripture encourages people to listen to those that are ancient days and to the wise and the elders of the land, because obviously if they messed up and stubbed their toe in the past, and option A didn't work out, then that tells you that at least option B and C are on the table, but you sure don't want to do A over again. Let's go to the next point. Failure can build you up and teach you experience and the right path. The pain from the past can make you better appreciate the success of the future and how to survive. The failure that you had in the past will give you the experience to look back and the insight on it and be like, man, I really appreciate where I'm at now, because boy, I went down this long line of failure in the past, and I did not like where that was at. So number 3, succeeding after you fail teaches you just how capable you are, gives you the insight and wisdom you've been seeking along the way as well. Something that happens with when you go through things, when you deal with stuff, is you gain this certain wisdom and insight that most people can try to explain to you. And as you experience it, you start to see those people's words come to life. But it's not the same as walking that path for yourself. Now, I'm not saying go and just fail just so you can be like, well, now I finally know what they're saying. What I'm saying is that sometimes, even with the best explanation that people can give you, even with the best warning in advance that people can give you, there's nothing that's more of a teacher than walking that path yourself. Just as from a person in a faith standpoint, I would say that, there's a lot of examples in scripture of people walking right into their destruction. I don't think we should repeat those said examples, if at all possible. Let's go to the next point. Number 4, failure is better than the regret of never trying at all, period. Now, I'm going to tell you, regret is one of the most terrible feelings, emotions that a human can ever experience. Whether it's the regret of not trying to strive, when you're a kid, it was not trying to strive to be on the baseball team or something like that, and little Johnny got that spot on the team instead of you. Or later in life, it's like, man, I really felt this way about that person, but I never told them. And that person goes throughout their life regretting that they never told them. Or the fact that you had an opportunity to make a strive at a business, and instead you ended up working for the other man the rest of your life. You kind of see what I'm saying? Is it's better to have known to swing for the fence than to never done it all, because regret is so much more painful than failure. I think if you ask anybody that's ever failed in life, now don't get me wrong, there is times that because you failed, people will have a regret. But that's a lot different situation as to how we're looking at it in the context in this video right now, because we're trying to achieve success. So the fact that we didn't strive to achieve success will leave a regret. And I assure you that emotion's a lot more painful than failure. Number 5, what we learn from our mistakes can never be taken from us, and you will not be able to be misguided again concerning this, i.e. some examples, religion, female nature. I'll just cover 2 of these real quickly from my own personal experience, because these were 2 that impacted me greatly. When it comes to religion, I was elected at an early age to be a deacon in a church, to be in a leadership position. And it wasn't that I wanted to be there. The church saw fit they wanted me to be there. But because of the situation that I was in, and seeing the things that I've seen, I can never be, what is the best word I would describe this is, imposed upon in my mind a certain set of beliefs anymore, because I studied the scripture for myself. And because of it, it actually caused me to no longer be a part of church, because that the churches of today teach this and the Bible teaches this, the written word, and those two are at odds with each other. And once you come to that point of knowledge, the scripture says, my people perish because they lack knowledge of me, I believe is what the scripture says. I think that's in Hosea. Is that once you know things, once you see things, you can't unsee them. Once you know things, you can't unknow them. Once you swallow too many red pills, you can't go back. You just can't take the blue pill and go back to sleep. And it also, for example, a lot of people nowadays, I know I've been knocked on this channel a little bit for it. People said that it's like a secret MGTOW channel. There's nothing MGTOW about it. MGTOW teaches you not to marry. And I encourage people to get married. And to fulfill what Scripture says. And not only that, go forward, be fruitful, multiply, have a family, have a great life. That's one of the fullest things you can ever experience in this life. But when we look at female nature, we look at what feminism has lied to women of this generation, actually the past 2-3 generations really deeply. There is a storm that has been created that to have a meaningful relationship with a woman nowadays is very difficult. And feminism has lied to women. It has destroyed women. It has destroyed homes. It has broken down our culture, because our cultures are built upon strong families. And once you finally see what you're dealing with, you're no longer angry with women for acting a certain way in their nature, because they're not only their nature is a certain way, but this world we live in and this model that has been created around has created this situation that you're dealing with when it comes to trying to find a mate nowadays. It has made it extremely difficult, because not only if you're somebody walking in the way, trying to find somebody in the way, you're trying to find somebody that won't turn around and do you wrong. And the divorce culture, where the 7 out of 10, I think the statistics now on first marriage, you go through a divorce, you're going to get financially pillaged and plundered in the courts, and etc. Once you see these things and understand them for what they are, dealing with it becomes not that difficult anymore. Number 6, it helps you find an inner strength and a resilience you would never had before if you just had been given success. When you talk to people that have dealt with failures, is they have an inner strength about them the second time through that nobody can take that from them. I want to give you an example. I have a friend that owned a construction company. He was a multimillionaire pretty much. And when the '08 banking crisis hit, he lost everything. But because of what he went through then, the resilience to move forward today, he now owns a multi-million-dollar company again. Okay? To be able to succeed once is amazing. To be able to succeed twice in life is incredible. Okay? Especially in the last generation we live in the last days. And this gentleman still dug deep, slept in a home that wasn't his, worked day and night, slaved away, and once again, from just by himself, starting back up that climb, built back a company again. So everything is possible. You've just got to have the drive, and failure will give you a fire that no one can quench if you fail. Okay, even if it wasn't your fault, it will give you a drive that success would never have gave you, because it's easy to stand on the mountaintop. It's really difficult to trod through the valleys to get back up there. Number 7, it can help you create a positive mental attitude and fearless in a sense, because you know how to navigate to success now. It kind of touches back on the point I just made in number 6, is that when you have dealt with these situations in the past, when you have failed in the past, when you've known the process, it gives you a resilience and a hardness that other people, they're in fear that they're going to fail. Fear of failure will lead to failure if you're not careful. But when you have been down that path once, you already have a navigation tool that most people will never have. And on top of that, the fire and the ability to understand what you're dealing with to get back to success can be taken away from you. I'll give you an example of this out of my own life. One more example is I've owned 3 businesses as an entrepreneur in my life. At 18, I opened a sports business. It was a sports entertainment business. Succeeded very well, especially on the pagan weekends. What would be the weekends to most people on the Roman calendar. Very successful. And eventually, though, in 04, it kind of fizzled out because the airsoft industry really overtook the paintball industry at that point, in my personal opinion, at least in our area, and it made a big difference in our sports arena part. Following that, I got into product sales marketing with a corporate business and large enterprise. Things went really well for a while, but because of the pyramid style in the industry, it was just not financially, fiscally responsible for the area where we live. So likewise, it just didn't do that well. And I eventually stepped away from that, and because it was on the downward slide of failure. But then in 2014, I opened my own construction company. Here we are 6 years in, by the grace of the Most High, y'all. Very successful, travel the country, travel the world, phone rings off the hook, emails, busy all the time. And it's just a small mom and pop. But I structured it that way because when I knowed my boundaries from the other 2 businesses, I knowed how far I wanted to grow. And I know that as long as I protected the boundaries where I'm at and looked at the failures of the past, that I can keep things in the margins to where that I can succeed. And by the grace of the Most High, here we are 6 years in, still hammering away at it, very successful. And I give the Most High all the praise for it. But if it wasn't for all the failures I had in past business to give me that drive, to give me that insight and the wisdom and the knowledge and the fearlessness almost to go forward now, then it probably wouldn't be as successful as it is today. Lastly, number 8. It motivates you in ways success never could in any way, shape, or form, because making a comeback is the greatest definer of a man or woman. I don't know how many people I can begin to name off that failed in a business, that failed at something in life, that failed at their marriage, their jobs, friendships, etc. And they turned their life around and made a comeback. People that had drug usage problems, pornography, gambling problems, all these things. And they put it away. They turned their life around and made an amazing comeback spiritually. I can't tell you how many people that hasn't been in the business field that, whether by their own direct actions, had induced failure into their business, or because of situations outside of their control, induced failure into their business, and they turned around and brought it back. I can't tell you how many people that with relationships, marriages, friendships, that things happen outside of their control, and later down the line, they were able to bring things back around by the grace of the Most High. Failure will teach you in ways, ladies and gentlemen, that we can just never understand on our own. It is a teaching tool that I think that most people in this life will never be able to fully understand. And in a way, I almost think it's good, but also in another way, I think it's very sad, because until you failed at something that was very important to you in life, and then come back and succeed at that, it gives you a joy of fulfillment and satisfaction that honestly the regular just following through and having success with it right out of the gate doesn't give you. I believe, with that said, and before I end this video, I believe that is why that in this life, if you look at the book of 2nd Ezra, I believe it's chapter 8, it describes that the world that is made for many, but the world to come is made for few. If you're a person of faith watching this video, what I would say is that I believe that is why that we as believers are going to struggle so hard in this life, and why that those that surpass and beat the struggle that is in this life through faith and salvation in Messiah and keeping the commands, I believe that the reward is going to be so great and so worth it. Whether you're Hebrew, waking up to the truth and the great awakening now that's happening with the seed of Abraham, or whether you're one of the nations that's waking up, I think that's why it's so fundamental for us to go through the struggles we do, the failures, the trials, the losing everything that we lose throughout this life, because the world to come is going to far surpass it by so many leaps and bounds we can't even, in our finite created mind, I believe, even begin to process it. So guys, with that said, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it's a motivator and a help to you out there. Keep striving. for success in life. If you fail, just dust off the dust off of you, get up and keep going again. And as always, until we see you again here at Seven Drums Forever, I hope you have a most blessed day. Yahushua.